What's going on, everybody? We got some new lights in the house, and what better way to celebrate than go over a faction that lives their lives in the light? This is Cali GG, and welcome to my Sacred Order video. Alright, everybody, welcome back. You're looking at your boy in HD. I love it. This is an awesome change. I hope you guys like it, because, yo, it's bright in here. Anyways, today we are going to be going over Sacred Order, a really, really cool faction. They have probably, I think the word I would describe this faction with is synergy. They've got it by the buttload. So I'm going to try, there are a ton of champions here, I'm going to try to make this video as short and knowledge-packed as possible. So first, I want to go over the rares. You guys know that these videos right now are geared towards later stages. And in most later stages, the rares, they just can't compete. I mean, let's be real, like Polarium, you got to give some more love throughout all the factions. I mean, most of these champions are complete and utter dog shit. Anyways, sorry, pardon my language. So, synergy. One of the great things you have starting out with these rare champions, if you want to kind of get ahead of the game in some of these levels, you can use Harrier, who has a passive when you use him with Hospitaller, which allows him to ignore defense. So this is a really, really good ability that you'll find on champions throughout the game, which will let them hit very hard. And why is that going to help? Because these enemies later on in these stages have a ton of defense and a ton of health. So any place where we can get some help, especially if you are lacking on an attack champion, we are going to take it, right? His kit, I don't really like it. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you, he's a rare, right? So you can't ask for too much. All of his abilities are going to be one hitters. You're going to hit one champion, so it's not going to be a really good idea to bring him in with like a stun set or a daze set, unless maybe you're just really, really hoping for that small extra CC. But going back to synergy, when you run him with Hospitaller, you get a revive for a random ally. This can be super helpful, and when she brings that champion back, it's going to have block damage on it. So the reason why this is really good is, as you know, sometimes you just don't have the champion pool to get through a stage. It might come down to that one extra CC, one extra heal. So having a partnership like this where you can bring an ally back if you're lacking revives could be that breath of fresh air, that second wind you need, if you will, in order to keep your team going. They're going to be really, really hard to pull off in later stages. No joke. But, you know, there's options there. Some other rare options I would say that you have would be Mother Superior. If you're looking for some patch heals, that can kind of go a long way. Even if it's just to put the shield on from her A2, that can help out a lot. And, you know, as you know, rares, especially at this stage in the game, are extremely easy to book. So, I mean, this is just additional health that you're getting off the heal. You can knock that down to a 3-turn cooldown. So, a lot of help there. I don't really like anyone else here. Maybe a special shout out for Confessor. She does have an attacks all enemies ability on her A2. She has a lot of attack for a rare. Like, I mean, 1410, that's insane. Decent speed at almost 100 speed. And this ability, if you're looking for the accuracy check, decreases the enemy accuracy by 50%. That could be huge. Looking at you, Norog, jerk. All right, so if you guys are trying to get through some stages and you're having difficulties because the enemy's putting block debuffs on you, decreased speed, HP burn, whatever it might be, this could be a really good option for you. Now, That being said, she does have incredibly low defense. Her HP is not the best, so you're going to need to bring her in with champions she synergizes well with. Champions that are going to support her, whether that be in lower stages, bringing in someone like Mother Superior as an example, or later stages, bringing her in with maybe a Cardinal or a Mistress of Hymns that is going to get her up, keep her going. You can get an ability like Blinding Light down on 3 turns, which could synergize, again, really well with a stun set, a daze set, anything that's going to lock the enemy up and keep you going. So I do really like Confessor as an attack champion, and being a rare, I think she has a lot of potential, but you have to think outside the box, boys. You got to think outside the box if you're going to use her correctly. Now, for the epics, I actually did this video already. And, I think I spent about a good 10 to 15 minutes explaining the epics, and I'm going to change that. I don't think it's necessary. I'm going to go over the champions I think are going to work well for you. Any of these champions, I'm just going to say any of these champions, if you're looking to fill a spot, they can fill specific roles, whether it be DPS, like say Missionary, who can be an extra DPS, but he also has a provoke. That could be good for CC. Again, getting that second win to let your team catch up on CC, to catch up on cooldowns, whatever it needs to push on to that next stage. But there are a few champions that I want to list out. I'm not going to go into all their kits. I know I normally do that. If you're looking for further information on each individual champion, please feel free to hit me up in Discord. I'm more than happy to take the time to go over that with you. But I will circle some out. So these first 3 champions up here, right? Canoness, Adriel, and Hope. While singularly, their kits are nothing insane, together, their kits can synergize very well. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use all 3. It might be, 1 or 2 of them together. But you get healing, shields, allied protection. You get a slew of really, really good protection for your team to enable your damage dealers to do more damage, or to enable yourself to get more CC, etc. You guys know it, all right? We talk about the same stuff every time. The top 3 things: sustain, survivability, and CC. That is what is going to get you through these last few stages in all of these faction wars. Now, I will say that Juliana and Romero are pretty solid. If you're looking for maybe a decreased defense, increased speed for your team, Frostbringer can be great for that. But they're not the best by themselves. They need their partner, or they need to synergize with other champions on the team, like the last 3 or 4 champions we're going to talk about in the epic category. And by the way, if I haven't mentioned somebody here, they're probably pretty bad, so don't use them unless you're like, you really need to fill a spot. I'll go over Fenix last, because I think you guys are going to find some interesting information for him you may be overlooking or maybe not. But Mistress of Hymns, Cardinal, as well as Lightsworn are basically the best support that you can use for this faction to really keep your team going to 3-star this faction. Now, whether it be Mistress of Hymns or Cardinal with revives, Cardinal being, in my opinion, a little bit better. She does have a full team revive, and it boosts everybody's turn meter to 100%. They both serve a really good purpose. I have seen, helped plenty of teams that have used both together, either one separate. They are extremely valuable for this faction. Just make sure that they are, again, survivable, that they have sustain. They don't hit very hard, so where does that sustain come from, you might ask? Maybe you put them in a fast immortal set. That could be a really good way for them to get their sustain. And you might want to look at that on any champion that does not have a lot of damage. So, like in my Dwarves video, I talked about putting... oh my god, Rearguard Sergeant in a lifesteal set because she can hit, decently hard. But I offset that a lot with Immortal Gear, so you could try mixing it up with them. They don't really hit as hard, they don't have decreased defense, etc. So I would recommend just keeping them in a flat Immortal, like 3-piece set. Get them as fast as you can, as tanky as you can, and it's going to help you a lot. Now, Lightsworn is a little bit different. He does have decreased speed in his kit, and decrease attack, as well as his A1 being able to decrease turn meter. Like, honestly, an amazing kit for Faction Wars, you're going to want to get some accuracy on him. So that might mean putting him in a lifesteal set with a one-piece accuracy set, getting accuracy on his amulet. Maybe if you can't get enough accuracy, also throwing an accuracy banner on him. But you want him to be fast, you want him to be tanky so that he, again, can get through those cooldowns and keep providing his increased defense and his revive on everyone, revive on death. So that is a really, really good way to support your team, enable them to keep going. Now let's talk about a DPS. Regardless of who your DPS is, if you are specifically trying to complete level 21, I would recommend Phoenix. He has an amazing ability built into his A1, so you don't have to worry about a cooldown. He can block revive on this. You guys have probably seen this in Ice Golem videos. If you haven't, and you're not using, say, Rotos or somebody else with block revive, Phoenix is great for this. Being that it's on his A1 and you don't have to wait for it to come up, you simply just have to get the enemy champion low enough and then use Phoenix to finish them off. Why is this such a big deal? Well, if you're not on 21, or if you're having trouble with 21, you know that the boss revives the allies. Why can I just have like a brain fart right there? Revives his allies and also does allied attack. And the Rowan and even the Zargala hit really hard, but the Rowan will one-shot your champions. Like straight up will one-shot champions. So being able to put down the Rowan permanently can help you succeed on that level. So make sure you level him up, use him. He's amazing. Unless you're running multiple revive champions, I would recommend Phoenix. Absolutely a monster for Faction Wars. Now, moving on to legendaries. I don't think I need to speak about this too much, but let's talk about synergy again. If you are rocking Venus and Cupidus like I am, it makes it a lot easier. I know a lot of you aren't, but for those of you who are, just to touch on it, you have your decreased defense and weaken, and then you have AoE abilities coming out of Cupidus. Personally, I run my Cupidus in a lifesteal set so that he doesn't die as often, you know, thus allowing my Cardinal or my Lightsworn, whomever, to basically not require to pick him up as often, which can really help out the team, or pick somebody else up. But you could easily run him in a stun set. You could run him in a daze set, because again, CC is king here in Faction Wars. It is imperative, so make sure you're running it. Now, if you're running people like Sir Nick or Martyr or Rosh, just make sure that you're building to their strengths. So if you're running Sir Nick, maybe some immortal gear for some sustain as well as health to increase his ability to do damage. You know, like crit damage gloves, an HP chest, speed boots, etc. Then pump up his damage as much as you can, and he's gonna increase the sustain and survivability of your team with those shields, with unkillable. He's a monster. Martyr, I don't think really needs much introduction. She's one of really the only 3 full team ally counterattack champions in the game. So yeah, if you have her, use her. She's amazing, and she has decreased defense. And Rosh, I would just recommend what you want to do with him is you want to make him as fast as possible, because you really, really want him to get back to those unkillable buffs. Basically his unkillable buff as much as possible, so that he will prevent your team from taking damage, allow them, again, that second wind, more sustain, allow them to get through their cooldowns longer. He is a great champion. I don't have him, but I have tuned him for a lot of teams, and he does wonders. So if you're not using him, whether you want to increase your times or whether you just want to have more a higher chance at success for like maybe an auto team or even just running manual, great champion to use. Now, for 2 damage dealers, Errol and Abyss. One, they both need to be booked, guys. I know that they're probably not going to be your primary champions, and you might only be using them for Faction Wars, but if you want to use them, you want to book them. Errol alone does a ton more damage when you book him. A ton more damage. Like, the difference in a solid attack set for him could be the difference between 50k on one of his hits and like 200k damage. No joke. Abyss is kind of the same. She has a great kit because she can kind of deal more damage based on the enemy's defense or attack, but she has a team-wide decreased defense, so that can be really useful. And that's pretty much it. I think we got through it in record time today. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on over to my gameplay video so you can see me run through it on level 21 in full auto. Of course, that's what we do here. But a quick reminder, go to my Discord, boys. I've had so many questions, great questions, honestly, about how to build champions. What team should I use? What champions are good, which ones are not, which ones are viable. I have all this information for you in my Discord. It's right below. If you go down to that link and join my Discord, I have all the champions I've used in Faction Wars uploaded with all their gear. I am going to be putting all their masteries in there as well so that you have the best chance at success. And then I also have a channel dedicated to just the teams I've run, full auto or manual. I don't think I really have any in there that are manual, but full auto with the times of completion on there, so that can be a great help for you. And as always, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. It has been an amazing ride over the last month or so, and I really love having you all here. So thank you again. This is for you. So please send me some photos of your success. I know a lot of you already do this already, but I love seeing it. It doesn't get old, trust me. So join that. Join my Discord. Let me know on there. And guys, if you have any comments, let me know down below. That's pretty much it. Cali GG. Out.